All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful software design pattern. But you know what? We're not going to start with a bunch of confusing code. Instead, we're going to start with a simple story from my school days. I want you to think back for a second. Remember sitting in class, trying to pay attention, and then bam, a knock on the door. It's an announcement for a club you're not even in. It was just this slightly chaotic but totally normal part of school, right? So picture this. My school had all the usual clubs. You had your sports club, your science club, the arts club, the whole shebang. And of course, they all needed a way to get important news out to their members. Now, the way they used to do it was, well, let's just say it was not efficient. A teacher would literally send a student to go door to every single classroom to read the announcement out loud. So you'd have sports news being blasted to 100 students when maybe only 20 of them were actually on the team. And this old way, it had two major problems. First, it was a huge waste of time for whoever got stuck with announcement duty. But second, and maybe even worse, it created so much irrelevant noise. For the other 80 students in that class, it was just another pointless interruption. So obviously, the school admins figured out this system was totally broken. They needed a better way. And what they came up with was incredibly simple, but honestly, pretty brilliant. All they did was this. They put up a few dedicated notice boards. There was one just for sports, another one just for science, and a third one just for the arts club. Such a simple change, but the impact was massive. And here's where everything changed. Now, teachers just had to post an update on their one specific notice board. The responsibility shifted to the students. The message was simple. If you want to know what's happening in your club, go check the board. So if you were in the sports club, you only checked the sports board. If you were a super achiever in both science and arts, well, you check those too. And the best part? No more interruptions in class. Okay, so this whole school story is a nice little tale, right? It makes perfect sense. But what on earth does any of this have to do with technology? Well, here comes the big reveal. This simple solution is a perfect analogy for a fundamental concept in software. That entire system we just talked about, the teachers posting news, the boards acting as middlemen, and the students checking for updates, that is a perfect real-world example of the publish-subscribe design pattern. Most people just call it PubSub for short. Okay, so now that we have that analogy locked in our heads, let's use it to break down the three core components of this pattern. It's actually really straightforward. First up, you have the publisher. This is the one creating and sending out the messages. In our story, that's the teachers. They write the announcement, they post it, and that's it. Their job is done. They have no idea who's going to read it, and frankly, they don't need to care. In the middle, you have the topic. You could think of this as the channel or the central hub. It's the thing that decouples the sender from the receivers. The publishers send their messages to the topic. In our school, the notice boards themselves are the topics. The sports board is the sports topic. The science board is the science topic. And you get the idea. And finally, of course, you have the subscriber. This is anyone or anything that wants to receive the messages. And in our story, the subscribers are the students. They're the ones who raise their hands and say, hey, I'm interested in this, by choosing which notice board or topic to follow. So let's just put it all side by side so it's crystal clear. The teacher, that's your publisher. The notice board, that's the topic. And the student, they're the subscriber. See how perfectly that lines up? It's a one-to-one match, which is what makes this analogy so great. So what can a subscriber actually do? Well, they have a few simple but powerful actions. They can subscribe, which is just like a student deciding to join the arts club. They can also unsubscribe. Maybe they get tired of painting and decide to join the sports team instead. And, of course, the main reason they're there is to receive updates from any of the topics they follow. Now let's level up our school story for a minute. In the original version, students had to physically walk over and check the board for news. In tech terms, we call that a pull system. They have to actively pull the information. But what if the notice board could automatically tell them when there was a new post? That would be a push system. And the perfect modern example is a WhatsApp group. The teacher posts a message and boom, every student in that group gets a notification instantly. The info is pushed right to them. All right, that's enough about school. Let's bring this into the real world, into our world, today. Where is this pattern actually at work in the technology we use every single day? You'd be surprised. I mean, how perfect is this? This quote absolutely nails it. Every time you hear a creator say, hey, please subscribe to my channel, yep, that is the publish subscribe model right there in your face. And here's the breakdown. When you hit that subscribe button, you become the subscriber. The YouTube channel itself, that's the topic you've just said you're interested in. And the person making the videos, they are the publisher. They publish a new video to their topic, and you, the subscriber, get notified. It's that simple. So the big idea here is that this pattern isn't some abstract, complicated thing. It's everywhere, quietly running in the background, making our digital lives work. So now that you know what to look for, from school notice boards to YouTube channels, I'll leave you with this question. Where else do you see it? Think about it. It's all over the place.